Hello, I am Jason Gillar with EDL 856 Mod 11 case study. In summation, the parent group within a school uh, decided to stop their association with the National PTA, which was kind of a blindside move. The principal was not expecting that, and rather they didn't. The principal and group met to discuss roles and expectations, and this is kind of where the principal was going to get together with them just to kind of go over the back to school information night. However, it was kind of, again, a blindside where the group spent most of their time explaining their new role and the requests for more control, and this included school discipline, teacher performance, curriculum, school functions, and school evaluations. The principal simply wanted the group to organize back to school information night, so again, he just wasn't quite expecting this complete change in attitude. The principal is also conflicted in how to approach the subject in fear of upsetting the group, but wanting the group to be active within the school without overtaking control, because he understands his job is to be the principal, but he also wants to give them an opportunity to be involved within the school because he understands the importance of community collaboration. There are some possible legal concerns within this case study. Obviously, the number one would be student privacy can become a concern with their requests. They do need to proceed with caution. If they were to actually go this direction to maintain and actually kind of oversee a lot of the control, then student privacy is actually really in danger at that point. The principal has ultimate responsibility, and especially within the decision in policies. So for him to give up that is actually a very bad look on his end and not doing his job. The group does not have rights to change school policy and cannot access student information, and they do need to follow FERPA rules or laws. And again, that just kind of goes back to the principal needing to maintain that control as the principal and only giving them this certain amount of ability within the group. So plain and simple, the newly developed parent group has expressed desire for more control and function within the school, and the principal needs to find a way to maintain control while giving group a role within the school. So the facts of the case, the people involved, basically the principal, who needs to direct parent group in the right manner, and the parent group wants more control and say within the school's operations, especially day to day. The place or the location, the school, also the designated meeting location where the principal and the group met. However, there is no other further information such as where the actual school was or the demographics of the area. And program. Group wants main decision-making ability in curriculum, discipline, policies, and etc., but a lot of this falls in line with the principal's role within the school. So the situation and future decision could definitely be damaging to stakeholders in the community. The principal and parent groups have an important stake in the outcome because the principal wants to maintain collaboration without conceding control. Again, it's his job and his responsibility to be the main say within the building. He can't necessarily give up that control, but he understands just how important it is to keep these the members of the group together. So it's kind of he's got to really proceed with caution and be delicate about addressing his concerns with the group's requests. And then the parent group has essentially redefined their role. They did this kind of in a almost a bad way without consulting the principal first. More relevant stakeholders do need to be consulted. The principal was left out in the initial group's meeting, which was a big concern and probably kind of where they misstepped from the beginning. Also, teacher and district personnel. After reading what the group's requests were for the teachers, it's unfair. It's almost creating an extreme amount of work and not necessarily in a fair way. And I would imagine that they get some pretty harsh feedback for the teachers' expectations and what the group is going to request from them. And then other community members. Maybe a problem within this group is that they are very close, and maybe they're people that work together pretty often or have come together because they all have the same vision for the school, which is okay. However, it may not be how the rest of the community feels. So getting more feedback from the rest of the community would also kind of help paint a bigger picture about what the community wants from the school. And then we do know enough information, but it would be good for the principal to meet with the group before making a decision, because ultimately he does want to provide that platform for them without kind of just taking over and completely ignoring the request. So there are a few options. Option 1, inform the group they will not go forward with the request, and their role has been assigned to back to school night. So day one he came in there expecting them to work on the back to school night. That's an option. And then option 2, give the parent group the request and risk legal issues. There's obviously a big issue with it becoming down to FERPA laws and privacy for students. So option 3, counter the group's request to restructure without possible legal complications. And 4, work with superintendent to redefine role of parent group. So some pros and cons of each option. When we're looking at option 1, really the pros would be if we shut down their request and just said we're not going with that, here's your role. It does show the principal has total control and you have no legal concerns, because it is in his right to ultimately take control and assign the role. However, it could ruin parent relationships, and that's kind of what we talk about with the stakeholders. He could damage those relationships, especially the community relationships. And with that, you would get a really hard, you would have a really hard time gaining community trust and support. Option 2, give the parent group the request. Again, this satisfies the parents and the community. However, the principal loses control, and you really are going down a steep path in terms of legal concerns. And at that point, there's no telling where the group's actually going to go, because it doesn't necessarily make you feel good that they want this much control. Option 3, counter the group's request to restructure. Again, this is giving the parent group a new role without legal issues, and the principal is still in control. So he's saying, I do want you to have a role, and I want you to be able to be heard and have a platform and have some say, but we're going to do it my way. We're going to do it the right way. Parents could still be unhappy with this because they may feel like the principal just wants it his way, and it's not that they're actually going to get what they want from the school, and they maybe feel ignored. Option 4, with working with the superintendent, together they can address the PTA issue, and they can actually go back and say, look, if you want things a certain way, you do need to be associated with the PTA. And it can take control from the very top, being with the superintendent and principal, usually what they say goes. So, however, this can be seen as a weak move, having to refer to the superintendent, because again, this is actually the principal's job from the start. So although it's always good to kind of get word from somebody else that you trust, this is kind of a manner that the principal does need to control. And parent group may feel principal went over their head. It's kind of like a cheap move for him to just now have the superintendent take control. So ultimately, option 3 would be the best all the way around, to counter the group's request to restructure without possible legal complications. It does allow the parent group to still have a voice and a new role. It maintains control for the principal, no legal concerns, and the focus can be centered around school improvement for all of the discussions. When looking at implementing my decision, really came down to what's best for the school, what's best for relationships between the community and the principal. And so requesting a meeting with the parent group would be the first step. Not only get everybody in the room together, but also come with a game plan to outline legal concerns that may cross with the request. So really putting it out there that, look, I hear what you want, and I'm not telling you no. I'm here to support you, and we want you here. We want you to have a role within the school, but here are some concerns with the legality of what you want. And then start by expressing appreciation for their progressive actions, but they are expected to do so within the confines of the law. So I thought that the fact that they kind of outlined all the things that they want to improve is awesome. However, they do have to follow the law, and they're going to have to kind of step back a little bit. Work with the group to restructure their list that falls in line with the law. So there may be some things that they ultimately just don't have any say in, which is okay, but also then providing them with the things that they do want and that they still are capable of having some say in. And then also to express desire for their school involvement. As much as they maybe not have say in so many areas, but then providing them and also giving them areas that they can have some involvement in. And then also have an open discussion of what they like to see within the school to get that feedback also from other community members. And that way we can kind of start from there of where to go next. And then there's for sure a moment in that group or in that meeting that you as a principal have to set the expectations for the group and also set a procedure for ineffective members. If it's just coming down to a couple of members that aren't in line with what their goal is and their mission is as a group, we're going to have to find somebody else, because maybe it's an entirely new group, but if they can't follow the law, if they can't follow the principal's expectations, then we're going to find somebody that can. So I think setting those expectations and kind of a repercussion for not doing it the right way will not only kind of open up their eyes to see that the principal does have control, but he wants us here for a reason. To reflect, as a building leader, I understand the importance of collaboration and involvement of community members, specifically parents. Effective schools include parents, and so giving them kind of a platform to be heard, but also have some work within the school is extremely important to student success. And of course, the principal, while maintaining control, must act as a facilitator that sets the tone and expectations of the group. So it's not to say that you're the one up there leading the group, saying, okay, here's what we're going to do. This is it. That's all you can do. No, but make sure you do it in this manner. Follow this guideline, and then you're going to be okay. And we want you to actually kind of take a little bit more control. So kind of want you to set those expectations and act as a facilitator. Really, I think the group can be far more effective than as if you took total control and only did it your way, or on the other side of that, didn't have any control at all. So kind of having the right amount of control is perfect. And then as a future leader, it'll be a main focus of mine to include groups of community members within some of the decision making and providing a platform for members to be heard. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.